Hello, everyone. Welcome, and I would like to start with our Pledge of Allegiance. Do we have students who would like to lead us? You just start it. Go ahead. Say I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, students. Welcome to everybody. It's kind of our back to school day here on the board. And I will hear a motion to approve the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda as published.
I'll second. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? No. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so we start out this awesome meeting with a presentation from our Farman Stidwell school students. Welcome up. I'm Principal Dr. Elizabeth D'Alessia. Welcome, everyone. And there's a dog whose name I'm spacing out right now. Oh, her. Oh, gosh.
That's right.
Sorry.
Good evening. Thanks for having us. We are excited to be here. Farman Stidwell is off to a great start to the year. Things are moving and happening. Our enrollment is up at Farman Stidwell, which we are excited about, and our spirits are up. And these guys are going to tell you all about our therapy dog program and Pepper. And I'm going to turn it over to my assistant principal, Ellen, who coincidentally just got her principal certification yesterday officially. So she is the official assistant principal at Farman Stidwell, and she's going to talk all about this wonderful program that we have.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to leave a lot of the storytelling to these children who are going to share with you about Pepper, but I wanted to just tell you a little bit. 3 out of these 4 students, this one right here, you'll learn what her role in all this is in just a moment. But 3 of these students are recent graduates of the Read with Pepper program, and you'll hear more about it in the presentation. But I just wanted you to know that the Read with Pepper program students are selected in conjunction with their teachers. We focus on 1st through 3rd graders as part of the research on literacy that shows that's where we really want to focus as many of our interventions as possible. And reading with dogs especially really helps with fluency, comprehension, and as you will see, confidence in reading aloud. And these kids are going to do a great job at showing some of their skills here to you tonight.
Before, can you move the view?
Yes.
I just think that they won't be able to, Geraldine won't be able to see that. There we go.
Perfect.
Are you ready? Nice and loud, guys.
Hi, I am Tilly Wassis, and I am in 5th grade at Farman Stidwell. Pepper is my family's dog. I am very lucky to have my dog come to school with me, and I would like to tell you a little more about her.
Could we just turn off this fan a little bit so we can hear? That would be great. Thank you. Keep going. Yes.
Oh, here we go.
Pepper is a rescue from Northwest Boxer Rescue. Our family drove all the way to Seattle to pick her up in November of 2019. When she was 4 months old, Pepper was rescued from Canada, which is why she has her full tail. She started training a couple months after we got her and finished by the time she was 18 months old to become a therapist. When Pepper is at home, she is a normal family dog. She is very playful and gets the zoomies and loves to play with her tennis ball and frisbee, especially in the snow. As a part of her therapy dog certification, Pepper has to volunteer outside of school. She usually goes to the library for kids Therapy dogs provide comfort and lower stress at school. They also bring lots of joy to school. Everyone loves to see Pepper at school. Therapy dogs complete training and have to take a test with their own. At Farmers School, Pepper is always with Miss Ellen. She will be in her office outside the classroom or in the hallway. She may be with one student, few students, or sometimes with a whole class. RED. READ stands for Reading Education Assistance Job. This is another training and test that Pepper and Miss Ellen took. Some students at Farmers will read to Pepper every week. Research shows that reading with dogs can improvise confidence and improve reading skills. The Read with Pepper program on a Cape grant in 2020. Hi, my name is Penny Fanning, and I am in 3rd grade at Farmanstonville. I would like to tell you a little bit about what it is to have Pepper at Farmanstonville. Pepper comes to school 2 or 3 days a week. When she is here, she visits classrooms and recess like kids read to her, or assemblies also. She usually comes for special days like holidays or assemblies also. At school, only 3 students can pet Pepper. At one time, they can pet her for 10 seconds, so everyone gets a turn. Students can pet Pepper in the classroom and at recess. If we are walking by with our class in the hall, we can give Pepper a silent wave. Hi, I'm Olivia, and I am in 2nd grade at Farmanstonville. I am going to tell you a little more about reading to Pepper. When we come to read to Pepper, we come to Miss Ellen's room. We pick out a book. When we sit on the floor or on Pepper's bed and get some treats, read ready when we are done with a page. We can give her a treat when we read 10 books. We give a book. We get a book to keep when Pepper's picture and
That was pretty impressive. Sounds like Pepper gets a lot of love.
She gets a lot of treats.
And a lot of treats.
I meant to mention at the beginning, which she did at the end, but they gave her a treat after each slide because her routine is that she gets a treat after every page. Yes. And that's what they told her to do also.
Wow. Well, she's fairly fit.
She's awful thin for all this.
She really is. She well.
They're
There's all the
healthy.
slide about the zoomies, right? Like,
Yeah.
It's a different dog at home.
Does anyone have questions for these kids about their program? Okay, can you remind me how long Pepper has been at Harvard?
Full-time and pretty regular for 2 years. Yeah. We did a little bit of training a little before that, but pretty regularly to read with Pepper program for 2 years. Yeah.
And I will say that Ellen has motivated others, and then the board passed last year a therapy dog policy, so we do have one in training at Sagal Elementary. There is one in training at Kootenai Elementary, and I just was approached by a staff member at Sandpoint High School that is going to do one for training at Sandpoint High School, so those are the ones that I know about as of right now. Pepper's kind of motivation.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is there any other questions? No. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
These are for the board and I for thanking you guys. So these, if your parents let you.
Oh, Pepper.
And Pepper, but yeah, you guys are good job.
We'll do it after.
Good job.
Excellent work. And just as stimulating, our financial update from Chief Financial Officer Brian Wallace. Welcome.
Welcome, Chair Lewis, board members, and Dr. Meyer. That is just brutal, having to follow that.
You always do.
It's getting worse with each year, yeah.
Sorry.
So we'll be quick with the board report. So it's really the first one of this fiscal year that we've given. Like last year, these first 2 months, there's not a really lot happening officially on the books of finances. We have the new budget, amounts for the general fund. On the revenue side, we did receive in August, we get a pretty big payment from the state for our state apportionment. So $14.6 million did come, so that's a pretty big payment. We'll get another payment, a couple payments later in the year. On the expenditure side, this is, typically we're going to be spending about $3.5 million every month, but you see it's a lot less. That's because all the salaries, or the majority of the salaries and benefits from July and August are really making up for last year, paying for the teachers the work they'd already done. So these are just the salaries of people who are all year employees there. So September will be our first full payroll for the fiscal year, and that's when we'll really sort of be able to compare that month and see if we're right around, in a perfect world would be 8.33% of our salaries and benefits for 1/12. So if we're right around there, we budgeted pretty well. If we're a little high, we'll just have to see. But financially, we're looking, so far good. There's not a whole lot to say about that. We really, the first 3 months are big for us as far as knowing how we're going to track on looking at not the expenditure side, but also on enrollment, and that drives our state apportionment on the revenue side. So again, just the chart to see the green will start growing throughout the year. We don't have salaries, benefits where most of our dollars go. They have a ways to go before we get to the top at the end of the fiscal year. Some of the things that obviously during the summer, materials and supplies and purchase services and capital items, we do have some of those summer projects that came through. And our insurance, our liability insurance, we pay in July, so that's pretty much done for the year. On the revenue side, you can see You know, right now it's that about half of our state money came in, and we'll see how actuals will change a little bit from budget depending on our enrollment. And on the next slide, speaking of enrollment, so this is the count date was September 6th, so Friday. And compared to last year, that same Friday, we're actually up 37 kids. So, you know, on just an enrollment basis, looking at the first enrollment report for this week, that we have a few more kids coming. So this is a good sign that we budgeted for a flat enrollment. So having a few more kids and will help on the financial picture. Of course, we're paid on attendance, so it's how many times those kids show up. But if we have the same percentage as last year, which was actually pretty good, you know, we should be in good shape, at least on the revenue side, meet and apportionment. A couple of items of note that I want to talk about. One, on the facilities planning. So our 10-year facility plan, and I put the letter in there, has been approved by the state. So the plan that was presented for you earlier, that's great. We got that in earlier. Mr. Deal worked on it, and so you can see August 15th it's approved. So with that, the House Bill 521 revenues, where we get that big lump sum up payment, that $15,184,000, that is what our distribution will be. We've elected to receive it up front. They'll be selling the bonds in October. I guess we get those funds actually to us probably November, December. At that point, you know, we'll just keep them in our investment pool, and they'll be ready to move forward with projects as we go with that. The House Bill 292 revenues, they came in August, and again, these revenues weren't part of the general fund. The state tells us we have to put these revenues in Fund 435. It's $2 million, and again, it has to go for capital projects. And last year we got about 1.4. So the amount, we just don't know. Like when we did a 10-year plan, I just guessed 1.4 for the 10 years. We could get this much next year, it could be $1 million. So we just don't know. It depends on state revenues and the way the formula works. But getting more than last year, that's always a good thing.
Yep.
And then the architectural services, we did go out to, we advertised on August 29th. The responses, the qualification packets of the architects are due in a couple days. And we've had 6 firms have asked us to send us the packet information for the RFQ. Others have asked for additional details. So, you know, we have some interest, and that's good. The more firms that are interested, and we'll be able to pare them down and hopefully get the best fit for the projects. Last, the audit. Our fiscal year audit actually started early August, working with the auditors and sending information back and forth and giving some details. They're actually in district this week, tomorrow and Thursday. So that's really when a lot of the work really starts going, when they are pulling some of their files and doing their testing and things like that. Something just for information is that one thing the state is requiring all the districts to do is provide more testing on attendance enrollment data, staffing data, student transportation, and maintenance efforts, special education. The top 3 are all really related. Those are the 3 items where how we earn our money. And so they're really auditing to make sure that we're reporting that accurately and that we're not asking for funds we're not due.
So when you say testing, additional testing, is that your staff being?
Well, that's all our
auditors?
processes. So they'll be looking at how are we claiming attendance, and are we following the rules on when a student is here half a day or full day, and does that match with the IC data that we upload? Okay. When we're looking at staffing data, we get paid more for an experienced staff member than a staff member with not as many credits. So they'll look and they'll pull some files and say, well, you said this person had a master's. Do they have a master's? Yeah. And so they'll be looking at our personnel files and things like that, which we are, this district, I can tell you right now, with Ms. Halls and actually the culture of the district, we are rule followers. So
good.
I'm not worried at all about that, but this is actually some additional audits they're doing at that level that, wasn't in previous years.
Okay.
And I think that's all I have right now.
Are there any questions? Thank you.
Okay, I guess on the audit, we were thinking that they
Yeah.
might present in November.
Oh, okay.
And the audit will be done in August. We have a few things we have to send to the state before that. We
Yeah.
don't think though, with them just coming this month, that we'll be able to finish for the October board meeting. And I guess it was our thought that you'd rather not have a second meeting in October, so the November 12th meeting would work.
And we can still get it into the state by the deadline?
Yeah,
if we do
we'll
it.
still meet our deadlines. So it's really what works best for the board.
I think that's good not to add an extra since we all have the ISBA convention in between those October and November meetings. So it would be nice to have just the one
Yeah.
November meeting. Okay.
Yeah, the lead auditor, Tony, we talked a little bit, and I asked him if the November date would work for him, and he said yes, so
Okay.
we'll firm it up.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
And we will move on to our superintendent report, Dr. Becky Meyer.
Okay. New year, so new theme this year. Probably
What?
didn't remember, but I'll just point it out just in case. I don't know if people pay attention to that kind of stuff. All right, happy first day of school. So the first quiz is, can anybody recognize a staff person in here? Couple people.
Yeah.
There's, yeah, right there. She was in disguise, but you see her there.
Yeah. Way
Easy.
down.
Is that Nina on the bottom middle? No.
No, that's a new one. She's in Southside, Brazy. She's in Southside Elementary. I've got all 11 schools up there in Homeschool Academy. But Casey's daughter, the happiest employee on the first day. This is Libby or Liberty now, and she is third grade at Washington, and she was the happiest person that I saw. Second grade, sorry. I keep saying third grade for some reason. She was the happiest one I saw. So
Wait, what's her name?
Liberty, she was Liberty, but now she's my
That's a
husband.
second grade?
What? That's
Second grade? No. The teacher.
yeah, second grade teacher.
Top right, is that she in kindergarten at Sagal?
Yeah, she had the planetarium here for you guys.
Oh,
now.
yes, yes.
So, yeah.
It's all
Okay,
coming together.
it's all coming together. Yeah, and we thought that Sharon Gunter of Farm and Stidwell Art was the longest standing, but then we found out at Welcome Back, for those that were there, that John Burnell is the actually longest.
Yes,
1989.
that's right.
89. So, okay, happy first day of school. We did welcome all the staff back. We have the lowest, it's really actually a very strong positive for retention in our district. We have the lowest number of certified staff hired that Loretta can ever remember in her entire tenure, which is like 20 years. So that's good.
great.
That's
Yeah.
very good for retention, that we have that low of a turnover for certified. This is what I said at the welcome back. If you were there, you've already seen this, but they are joining over 600 staff, over 3,800. I said almost 3,800, but now we're right over 3,800 as of today, 3,809. So right over 9,000 family contacts, 11 schools, Homeschool Academy, prettiest place. There's Schweitzer, every student, every day. This year, you probably remember last year, our focus was on connection, and that was our theme last year, really working on that one trusted adult, student connection, staff connection, community connection. This year, our focus is on focus. So what we really talked about to the staff was, what's the one thing, because as the board knows that Andrew and Casey reported to you how wonderful our assessment scores are and what we're doing with One Trusted Adult, graduation rate increase. So we've really seen a lot of growth. How did they do it? We asked the staff, and I'm going to be asking you at the end of this presentation, what's the one thing that you did well, that you really focused on to move the needle for us as a district? So the center of all we do is really the student, and what revolves around what's best for students and making sure they're growing every day. Just a few celebrations to highlight. This is new information that just came out. You saw already the IRI data, beat the ISATs for every single grade level, every single test. You saw our dyslexia, where we had all of those number of students we were interviewing went down. This is brand new, and you can see Lake Pend Oreille School District at the top. The green represents the top 3 districts, and this is North Idaho. And we are in the top 3 in all areas assessed. You can see that. And Coeur d'Alene is too, but look at us, right there. That's us on the very top.
Just
We
leave
see it, we
there.
see it.
Just leave it there.
I just let it soak in, people, soak in.
Yep.
Okay. And I do want to point out, it's a team effort, and we want to give a big shout out to the entire Lake Pend Oreille School District for our science. Andrew and Casey reminded me, started before I got here, just really a guaranteed and viable curriculum with science. They have been really working at it, had the new science adoption, but they both said before I even came back, they've really been working at this in the district. And this, to Andrew and Casey, is just a testament to the curriculum and really fidelity to that, and teachers being able to really dig in deep with students. We did wonderful. You can see we're top in the state. And a highlight to principals here to Washington Elementary, second highest in the state for traditional schools for our science scores. So good job to Washington Elementary. So. All right. So here's our strategic plan as a reminder. I want to give you, just for the top left circle with our facilities and student safety, I just want to give you one update quickly. I did the update last month on everything we've got done, what's still on our list, but I did want to give the board a heads up. We are going to, needs to move over a little bit, but our Move, Secure, Defend, we started with Mark Federson my first year here. Every single school had a 2.5 to 3 hour training on Move, Secure, and just a tight little overview of Defend. Keith started at Clark Fork last year and Hope Elementary. Both did a Defend training, and now we're going to be doing it in all the rest of the schools. We are going to be doing parent notification to every parent. The students will not be there for K through 6 at this point. I'm not ready to do that. But at secondary, students will be there with parent notification, and they can certainly opt out their kids if they'd like. There is a linked in there. You can see what there will be the overview of what training is taking place. Any questions about that? Okay. Community connection, you know we have the loop, and for anybody in the audience or if anyone watches the video and wants to go, if you click on the loop, you can get all of our prior editions, and there's this little Facebook thing and the Instagram. You can push on those and see. I do want to highlight to the board, we had our highest readership. Thank you to Darren, our new CRL, who's standing back here.
Yeah.
We had our highest readership before this edition was 4,800, and now look at this, 6,200 for the back to school. So
Awesome.
Just skyrocketing. So I don't know if Darren's good luck or it was just a great addition. Maybe he just went and watched it a bunch of times.
Oh.
No, I just thought of that. He didn't really do that. Just kidding, Darren.
You could vote 10 times.
Yeah.
So it is getting more readership. I went back at the very start. We had like 800, 1,200, and it's just blossomed. So I think people are finding a lot of value in it, which is great. By law, I'm presenting an open enrollment report. You know, I gave you a precursor last month. This is my official one. We do one per quarter. There's the code if anyone wants to look it up. This mirrors what Brian Wallace said for our enrollment report. As of September 6th, which that was our last Friday, so the first week of school back, we have 312 accepted. You can see that 81 of them are out of district, so we had the rest of those were in district requests. 0 pending. 42 students were denied this year, and only 8 did not choose another school in our district.
I have a question on that real quick.
Okay.
I think I know, but just for clarification, only 82 out of district, that means the rest were wanting to move from
Schools within our district.
schools within their
Yep.
district in their living zone.
In our, they live in our district, yes. So here, you can see which schools approved, denied, if they requested an additional. You can see last year, we were 315 total requests, 56 were out. Then this year, 354, 81 requests were out. So there was an increase of both of those. You can also see which districts: West Bonner, Boundary, Lakeland, Coeur d'Alene, Post Falls, so 81.
Is there a way to show us last year's out of district
Sure.
numbers as well to see the maybe the fluctuation between other districts?
Yeah, I
You mean which districts they're coming
Yeah,
from?
year to year
Yes.
with the other districts there, like you have 58, 19.
Yes,
Do
absolutely.
last year's also?
Yep, right up there. That'd be great. Yep. I'll send that to you in the board update, but then I'll put it in here for
Because
the
it'd be nice
public.
to see that fluctuation from districts
Yeah.
year to year.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll send that in the board update, but then I will put it on this spreadsheet before this goes on the website so that folks can see that. That's good.
Thank you.
And then the reasons for denial are, these are the, by law, the reasons that deny over the amount of classroom enrollment cap space that you voted on, or disciplinary record, chronic absenteeism. There's the official definition. So this shows you by law how many open spots we have as of today. So you can see if it's negative, we don't have room in there for students to transfer in. If there's spots left, it's in a positive number.
So what does that mean if you're negative 13 right there, third grade at Farman? We're 13 over our max?
Open enrollment numbers. So right now in third grade, I told you guys in the board update, right now that's the only staffing we added last week. We are adding a 0.6 FTE teacher. FTE is full-time equivalent, so we're adding a 0.6 teacher. In third grade, she's actually at 32 and 32. Our exemplary numbers for third grade are 26. But we aren't adding a full-time teacher, it's not quite enough to do that. So they have changed the schedule around and we're adding a 0.6 so that those students will be in 3 classes for math, reading, win time, flex grouping. They'll be able to serve for all the core. So that's what that number is. She's the most over the maximum number that we've allowed by our board policy. Did that answer
Oh,
your
I see. So that's
questions?
just the open enrollment.
Yes, the open enrollment. But the reason that number is so high is because they are over, I mean, they have 32 and 32 right now, and then starting Monday, there'll be 3 classes.
3 of smaller size.
For 0.6, yeah. So there will be like PE and music, all of those kids will be together for special.
How do we justify like 4th grade is 6 over? Does that not put us over as well, but we don't?
No, they're still within the exemplar numbers for our in-district. We just won't take any out-of-district enrollment unless,
I see.
yeah. The cap numbers for open enrollment are lower than what our exemplar numbers, so that we leave room for our local patrons to get in there first. That's how the board came up with those numbers. So that'll be on our website. And I will remind the board, we don't have anything to report back, but we are, after our board workshop last spring, we came up with these 3 board focus goals. So we will be looking at those throughout the year. And to end, reminding you that we're going to focus every student every day. And this is what we asked our staff this year. What's the one thing that you each, as board members, you don't have to answer out loud, but I just want you to think about what's the one thing that you're going to focus on to help move the needle in our district and help us continue to be the best district in the state.
I was ready. I
Okay,
even
you
wrote
can-
it down. I thought you were going to quiz us.
Okay, let's bring it
No,
out.
no, I don't want to. I was just letting you
Well,
know.
now we want to
Yeah, now
You
we want to.
presented it like you were going to
Okay,
ask us.
let's have
Say
a
it.
board chair model. What's the
Yeah.
one thing you're going to do?
So, okay, I didn't write this down because I really didn't, I wanted to work under pressure, I guess. But obviously the one thing I wanted to do as board chair is completely support our mission. And for me, that is complete support of our staff and teachers so that they can do the work they're hired to do.
Awesome.
Great job.
Okay,
You did so good.
Trustee Peters, now you're up.
Well, you sounded like you were saying the one thing we think we've done well, or are we going to?
Perfect, and
Sure, take
continue
it
to
there.
do well.
I feel like I tried to put a high focus on parental rights and involvement in policies and things like that. So hopefully the patrons and parents feel like I try to do that. So anyway,
Yeah, perfect.
I feel like I do, so I want to focus on that some more.
Yep, and keep that, great,
Yeah.
awesome.
So Molly told us that we had to problem solve, act safely, make wise choices, and share our heart in 2022. And so those are the ones that I always go back to. So I think that I really try and listen to the kids.
Awesome.
Wow, we've got staff, parents, and kids What's left?
What's left?
Grandparents. I just want to continue focusing on the facilities.
Awesome.
One of the
Yeah.
things that I ran on, and I believe that would cover all of it if we're all focused on something like that. So.
I just want to point out to the audience, or if you're watching on video, I did not set this up. If you look behind us at the strategic plan, they each picked one of them without me even saying a single word. So Lonnie, you're gonna have to go to the middle. You're gonna have to get that. So, wow, that was awesome. So thank you very much, and if anybody has any questions, they can certainly reach out to me. So thanks for participating, board. That was nice.
For giving us a little quiz that we
Yeah.
couldn't flunk. So we will go on. Is there anyone signed up for? Oh, never mind, I jumped all the way ahead. We have the ISBA proposed resolutions. Did everybody have a chance to look through these and have any questions? Now, I know, remind me who's going.
I'm gonna go.
And I think Lonnie's going.
I
So,
am not at the moment, but
what you'll see here are the resolutions that will be hearing the support for or the opposition to. Thank you. But those of us who are there will be voting right then. But before we go, we'll get votes from those who will not be present so that you guys can participate in that. And again, there's all sorts of detail here, so you have a lot of time to read through it before we get there in November. We have the first reading of 3 policies, although one's a form. So let's go to that first policy, 3500 right now. And you've got the description there.
And board chair, we have Nurse Christina Gavin here, so she can answer any questions for us on these policies.
Excellent. And as you saw from the right up there, you got a summary of why this is needed. Anybody have any questions about the policy or
I did.
typos?
I don't know, maybe it's something that you can speak to, or number 2 on the list at the very beginning, I guess it would be like the second paragraph portion. Such services may include but are not limited to, and it lists 5 things. Number 2 says the consulting services of qualified specialists for students. I guess I just was wanting to have more clarification of that. It seems pretty broad as an option for LPOSD essentially to get students help in those areas. I don't know, it seemed pretty open-ended to what those consulting services or qualified specialists would be as a justification for a student to get treatment.
I think this section, would you mind coming up?
Does that make sense?
Christina?
I'm
I
trying
think
to-
this is just services that we're gonna offer, not that we would do without parent permission, is how I'm reading that.
Yeah, correct. And
Okay.
Kelly can correct me if I'm wrong. We took this directly, some of this directly from the recommended policy from the Idaho State Board. So, I mean, we could specify that further if you wanted,
Well, and the
maybe,
reason-
or
I'll
we
just-
could.
Go ahead.
Let me know
Yeah.
why you think, and then
Well,
I'll tell
the
you.
reasons I'm saying that is because there's been schools even near us, or all over the country too, that, for example, during COVID, brought in COVID vaccine trucks, or what, I don't know what you call them, centers, you know what I mean? And so if that was a district offered thing, and we put it under number 2, but I can guarantee a lot of parents would not go for that.
Yeah, for sure.
And so how do we do, I don't know, it seemed pretty open-ended, and that was just one example.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to
So
the full
one of the
extreme.
worries I have is that you write a policy that is so detailed and specific
Yeah, sure.
that
Exactly.
you're constantly having to go back to
Yeah.
it and adjust it to meet the needs, because it is a pretty broad,
Yeah.
Mhm.
it's by design, a broad net you're throwing because of the
Exactly.
range of things that come up in healthcare.
Yeah.
Now, given that, nothing would happen without parental permission. So nothing's being enforced, you know, under the table or slid through in this
Exactly.
loose thing.
Yeah,
The
we're not
way the
bringing in a
policy's
vaccine
written.
truck
Yeah.
or anything like that. For me, number 2 could simply mean, you know, if a kiddo had an illness that I needed to contact the health department about, and again, no identifying information is being shared about that student, but just to consult with them on, hey, what would you do in this situation? Like, what is the, you know, just there's lots of questions that we could ask in that regard. You know, even if we're talking to, say, a healthcare doctor or something about a student, we would have to get further permission from the parent. We'd have to get them to sign a consent for medical records. So that would include that.
I need to scour it. I don't remember seeing a lot about parental parents being able to opt out of those things, but I might have missed it. So I'll need to go through that again.
Are you referring to this 1 through 5?
Mhm.
That is just saying the sentence above, parents and guardians shall be notified of any new health services that become available after the annual notice. Such things may include this. So it's saying we would have to notify them. It's more the proactive. If we give an annual notice, this is what's available to you to choose from. If we have any new thing that comes on, we are required to send out again to tell parents, is what that's saying.
Right.
So that's not the
But
law
notified doesn't say an option to opt out. That's just saying,
No,
hey,
no,
this
no.
is what we're offering.
Right. It's just saying this is what we're offering. The parent still has to authorize it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's saying, hey, we added a few things to our service
And
so
that's
that
what I'm
the
saying.
parent knows.
If somebody can point to me the spot where it says parents can authorize that, because I think maybe I just missed that part. Or we can take time. And this is just first reading.
Yeah,
Yes,
they would
yes,
have to
yes.
consent
More
further to that, because like if
Okay.
you look at the consent form, I know it doesn't list number 2.
Okay.
It is a little bit more specific,
Okay.
so.
So if a parent or guardian, it's that paragraph right there, declines to consent to health care, the staff member responsible shall document their efforts to
Okay.
obtain, okay? And shall document the parent's refusal.
And some parents may just give the the option to provide blanket. If not, then it's the next paragraph there.
So, okay.
Thanks.
Yep. Are there other questions that came up? I mean, this is new, so. Okay. With that, I will move on to the 3500F, which takes me longer to pull up than calculating. There we go. So this is the notice of health services. Did you guys have any questions on this? Will we be actually approving the form or just seeing it because it's related? You're
But
just
if
seeing
the
it.
board has any feedback, we would be open to that right now so we can get it right.
Okay.
I did it's similar, it's along the same lines, the second paragraph where it says, the district may also provide healthcare services without parent guardian consent if district staff reasonably determines that a medical emergency exists, and it lists the 2 reasons that would fall under that. District staff weren't able to reach the parent or guardian despite a reasonably diligent effort in this student's life or health would be seriously endangered by further delay in the furnishing of health care services. I think when you add things like or health in those, it feels to me like a possible loophole to something beyond a life and death situation. If it literally one district staff determines something, not saying that there's bad people in our district that would do this, but I think in policy it might leave it open-ended if somebody were to say, and we need to do this, or and I can't get a hold of anybody, then I'm gonna just cause, I don't know. If I'm making sense, it just seems like it's a little open-ended when you start adding things beyond life and death as an emergency deal for a parent guardian to not be notified.
So I will refer you to the one above because imminent irreparable physical injury. I had a case just happen 2 weeks ago where a little child fell and ruptured C3, was not in our school district. It's actually a homeschool child. And care had to be given right away to get her to the emergency room to stabilize and everything, because she was not going to die. There was never a danger of dying, but a serious threat of paralysis. So I'm just saying, again, you don't want to hamstring. And on some level, you do have to trust your staff that they're. So some of those aren't necessarily life and death, but certainly imminent danger
Quality of life.
Serious.
Yeah, I
danger.
know.
Now,
I'm not saying that it's.
that's a case
I
where the
want
parent
it,
was there, but
and maybe I just need help if there's an option for wording difference. I'm not saying I don't want that there. I'm just saying I don't love the possibility for open-ended, like kind of a loophole for things that aren't. It just seems very much of a subjective idea of what a staff person could determine as a health might not be something.
So something like.
But
I don't even know.
Yeah, can we?
To one of these accounts, I just want to like the abstractness of it. One of the pieces that comes to me, Trustee John, is like a head concussion. I don't know if you just heard, but there was a death of a young student who had a head concussion, and they did. And my concern is if we limit that language to just life or death, something as severe as a head concussion may not be seen underneath this policy. So I think that it just, the life and death, I agree. Parent consent, we always get, that's more of a procedure that we have within the district, within the nurses. The nurses are always contacted. And they reach out to the parents, but I just think if we get really, really nitty-gritty that we're gonna lose some of those situations that occur that people may not see as life or death, and they get lost, and then something unfortunate.
It's word for word from the parental rights law, so it says that same thing.
That's good to know.
It's right in.
It's in 32.10.15 parental rights and medical decision making, and it's verbatim of what is in law, is for health.
So I think that helps. We
Yeah.
need to talk about
It does help understand. All right, so we're going to move on. We have one other first reading, 3540 policy. 3540 is emergency treatment, and as you see, everything in yellow has been added, and there's quite a bit consequently stricken. So, did you have any questions on this one? A lot of similar.
Are you waiting for
language.
me? Because I don't have anything on this one.
Okay, moving right along.
I do.
That was the end of our
The
first
elephant in the room,
reading.
I'll address that right now.
Yeah.
Sorry. And no public comments, so we are going to move straight on to consent agenda, and I am waiting for someone.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I second it.
It's moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes. So we do have some board action items, and the first is Sandpoint High School students are here to ask permission to hold an off-campus dance. I'm assuming that's you two.
Yeah.
Looking around the room. Okay, welcome. Oh, yes, we can have the fan back on. These guys are loud enough.
I got it.
Sorry, thank you.
Oh, good point. Okay, speak loud.
Okay. Thank you guys all for being here, even though you guys probably didn't have a choice to be it. My name is Peyton Polhemus, and I'm a senior at Sandpoint High School, and I'm also the ASB representative.
My name is Leila Parr, and I'm a junior at SHS and the junior class president. Today we are coming to you to propose a new location for all upcoming school dances this year. We would like to host this year's dances at the Hive located in downtown Sandpoint.
Where budgets may be high, we have some solutions to minimize our spending. For example, we will provide all of our own chaperones, security, and have Sandpoint police officers in attendance. We also will not be paying for a DJ and instead just using a Spotify playlist, which will be run through our principal, vice principal, etc., and approved. This has been a request from the students for a while, and I think that they will be very happy with this decision.
To put this into perspective, we'd be saving roughly $500 if we didn't get a DJ. In return, we could put these funds towards other student council activities later in the year, such as Spirit Week and Battles for the Title.
The Hive can hold 700 students, and the student council is planning on selling tickets for $15 each, and that would more than cover our total expense of the venue, which again leaves us with excess funds that can be used elsewhere throughout the school year.
Another concern that's been brought up every year when hosting school dances in Sandpoint High School is a single point of entry. In our high school, our chaperones have to be concerned about students being in the hallways and leaving and coming back during dances. In the Hive, there's only one exit and entry point, making it easier for security, therefore making a safer and easier environment to manage.
We request that the school board consider our proposal to host this year's homecoming at the Hive on October 12th from 7 to 10 p.m. Thank you.
So I have a question.
Okay.
Are you just requesting this just for the homecoming?
No,
Or is it for
no.
all the dances throughout the year?
Throughout the year.
And
we
how many
ask
dances are there?
3.
Homecoming, sort of
Six
winter
Sadie
leaves.
is a winter form, we haven't really decided yet.
Okay.
And prom. They asked
Yeah.
for us to commit for the entire year.
Okay.
I had a follow-up question with that then. Is that estimated cost of $3,500 for all the dances, or is that just
Each
One.
event.
Each event.
Yeah.
So you need to sell 700 tickets for each event.
We could sell much less than 700 tickets and still make that amount.
Still.
The 700 is going to put you over your
Yeah.
budget, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Are there any other questions? With that, I will hear a motion.
I make a motion to approve the off-site dance request at the Hive for the upcoming school year dances, specifically the homecoming.
How would you?
A second.
It's moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? I thought you were raising your
I
hand.
did have a question.
Yes.
One more question.
Yes.
If you don't reach that mark of selling those tickets, what would you guys do? Like, to cover the budget for it?
Oh, so each of our classes have, so like the ASB has an account, the junior class has an account, etc. And so juniors are in charge of planning homecoming, seniors are in charge of prom. We each have an account set up for scenarios like this where we do just pay for the venues out of our own.
But we also do believe that having it off-site, like in the Hive, will encourage much more students to come, and we usually average around 600 ticket sales per year, even within the high schools.
Okay.
And it's not a question, but I appreciate you saying that you're going to run your playlist through the administration. As a parent, thank you for that.
Yes, that's right.
Yep.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
I
Aye. That motion passes. Thank you for presenting.
Thank you.
Yeah, So I invite Dr. Joy Jansen up to discuss the special education manual. And you've all had a chance to look at this many-page manual. Dr. Jansen, just to start, can you just give us a short highlight on what has changed?
So they made
different
a
in
very
this?
small change due to an OSEP, the Office of Special Education, federal complaint from a parent here in Idaho. And it was the result that they said our manual did not take into account for specific learning disability, SLD, that our eligibility was not, did not match IDEA, which is Individuals Education Act of 1942. So the federal government came back, OSEP came back and said, actually the complaint is accurate. And what happened is last year they put a work group together, which I was part of that work group. We had to look at the actual definition of how eligibility, SLD eligibility section for identification in the manual was written, and it was rewritten. By law, it has to go out for comment. It went out for comment. There was only probably, I think, like 7 or 8 comments that were shared. There was no dissent, no difficulties or challenges within the comments. And so it was passed by legislators, and then the school board passed it, I think, like 3 weeks ago. I don't know the exact date. The change that happened is actually very minimal, and what it really moved to was under SLD eligibility, the D, it says response to intervention or pattern of strengths and weaknesses, and that was the change. So what that means is that we have to look at both and determine if it is one or the other, or maybe it is both. But that was the only change in the manual. Okay. As I've shared with Dr. Meyer, we are actually, the state is going, the Division of Special Education at the state level is going through a major revision, looking at creating work groups, which will come back and be completed in 2015. The manual then will be open for 2020-25. Doing that. I don't know where I'm at. Anyways, I'm tired, sorry. And then, so in 2025, it will be open for comment. If there are any needed revisions. If not, it will go to the legislator for approval, and then the board will approve it as well. So that's with that minimal.
Okay.
Any questions?
Just for the public, can you remind us when this board has last approved
The last time the manual was revised was in 2018, and the revisions of the manual come from the State Department of Ed, or Idaho Department of Education now.
Yep.
That is not done by the district.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's in accordance with federal law.
Okay. So I will entertain a motion to approve the special education manual with that update that has been described to us by Dr. Hanson.
I make a motion to approve the 2024 Special Education Manual for Lake Monterey School District.
I second that.
It's moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I just wanted to say I'm going to, I just want to go on record, I'm going to abstain from this because I didn't get a chance to read the whole thing. We got it on Friday, and I was too busy to read 250-ish
The
pages.
311 pages.
There you go. Well, 300.
There's a lot of intentionally left blank, though.
So
Yeah.
I know
okay.
it's just a couple changes, but I'm voting on the entire manual, which I didn't get a chance to read, and so I'm letting you know on record I'm abstaining, and I would hope that the next time we get it with enough time to read that much. I felt like it was a little short notice to be asked to approve something I didn't get time to read.
Okay.
So that's why I'm abstaining for everyone on camera.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. That motion passes. Barely. Without Lonnie. Without you. Just passes. Okay, so thank you. That is the point well taken on the notice ahead. So we're going ahead with the second reading of policies. And we start, nope, back up. The approval of all the student handbooks.
Yes.
Keep trying to jump ahead. These we do approve every year, and we can have a motion that approves all of that. This is another part that made our packet so large this year, or this week.
Motion you said?
Yep.
I make a motion to adopt the student handbooks district-wide for 2024 through 25.
I second that.
It's moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes. So now we are moving on to the second reading of some policies, and we start with policy 1140, which is the vacancies. The revision is here. We've seen this before. If there's no further discussion on it, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion to adopt the revisions to policy 1140, vacancies.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion passes. So I'm going to have a hard time keeping ahead of the second is the 1500, the new board operating protocol. We saw this, and if there's no other questions about it, I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion to adopt our board operating protocols 1500B.
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes. So the third policy we're looking at is the revisions on 2410, section 504. And as you saw the notes, it's in keeping with federal law. We've seen this. Is there any other questions? If not, I'll hear a motion for the approval of this one.
I make a motion to adopt the revisions to policy 2410, section 504.
I second that.
Moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes. Give myself time to find the next one. The next one is policy 3285, relationship abuse, sexual assault prevention. The revisions to this policy are in front of you in, well, they're not, they're on your screen, highlighted. Is there any other questions, discussion? Very small revisions. If not, I'll hear a motion.
I make a motion to adopt the revisions to policy 3285, relationship abuse, sexual assault prevention.
I second.
Moved and seconded. All in, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Our next is policy 4105. Still getting there. It is the public participation at board meetings. The revisions you see there. Is there any discussion, questions?
Yeah. I think we discussed the repetition of that second paragraph. It said the same thing twice in a row. Second sentence, the comments of the community will be given careful consideration in evaluation of such comments, first priority. This was my Pearly moment, remember?
You're right, you're right.
And then I don't think it's out.
It did
of
get
there.
stricken.
Those two, there's
We
two
doubled it
sentences
and
in
it's
a
still
row.
doubled. Yes.
Other
You
than
are
that,
correct.
I am gonna approve this when we get a chance. I mean, I'll approve it with
So
the air.
can we approve it with that,
With it struck for the clerical duplication of the
Yeah.
paragraph. Yes.
Okay, so I would hear a motion to approve it as amended.
I guess I'll make a motion to adopt the revisions to policy 4105, public participation at board meetings. The revisions, is that not in there?
Of striking out the two sentences.
Oh, with the revisions of striking out the repetitious sentences in paragraph 2?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Perfect. Did I get it close?
Seconded. Any discussion? Thank you, Pearlie. All in favor? Aye. That motion passes. Hope Pearlie's watching.
He's not.
Okay, so then, thank you for catching that. We have policy 4110, patron student complaints. Revisions are highlighted. Are there any more discussion? If not, I will hear your motion.
I make a motion to adopt the revisions to policy 4110, patrons to complaints.
I second.
It's moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion passes. We're kind of busting through these, but because they're second readings, we can do that.
Right.
Policy 5470, leaves of absence, military leave, revisions to this one. Based on House Bill, we've seen this. Is there any other questions on this?
I remember I brought up an idea or the possibility of like civil support groups that are recognized by county, but did we discuss looking into that, or was that just, I don't remember what,
I thought.
or if it was just me saying it and then it was kind of like, we didn't need to look at it. It says,
Yeah, I remember you mentioning it, and I thought it was sort of addressed in
it might have been, and I just didn't put it in my notes.
This day and state was ordered.
Oh, it's number 2, ordered by the governor, let's see, or other lawful authority to activate duty training or other duty as members of the National Guard, state recognized militia or state of Idaho or any other state. The thought was, I know we have like a civil support group here in Bonner County that is on call or whatever through the commissioners if there was an emergency to be asked to render aid for flooding or whatever the need might be. And I don't know if there's staff on that and if that's recognized under that state recognition. You know what I mean? Because they are
Yes, yes, and I actually know the group you're talking about. The question is whether we would give a leave of absence to somebody who serves, but I do believe that
but
that's
it's not
sort of an ad
recognized by the
hoc.
governor. It's a county one.
It's an
Is that
ad
under
hoc
that or not?
county group that pulls together based on the need,
Right.
and it's mostly made up of volunteers throughout the county. I don't know.
I just don't remember if we were going to look at that, or do you remember what we did?
It's up to the board what they would like to do, because it really comes down to compensation.
And-
In this paragraph here, if you want to add that on as a viable option that the board would compensate after their days, that's up to the board's discretion. So that's really,
I'm hesitant to add sort of these
Yeah.
county-wide ad
Right,
hoc
yeah.
groups, even though I love what they're doing.
Yeah.
I'm hesitant to make it a leave of absence for our
Right.
staff.
I agree with the payment portion. I just
Yeah.
because you could at National Guard, state/county recognized militia. That would be really up to the board's discretion.
I would rather it be supported from the state level, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think. I just know I brought it up and was
Yeah.
more of a hope that it might get covered,
Yeah.
like the state would put it in their part as
Right.
recognized. You know what I mean?
And I
Right.
guess they could choose to do that, but this is the board's discretion on that piece, who's going to get compensated.
Anyway,
I'm more comfortable leaving it as it's worded at this stage. Although seeking state approval for a group like that is not a bad route.
might be the way to go to get
I think
if
that
they
would be
want
the
to.
appropriate route.
Probably.
I'm really weird
A little
to
easier
add
for
things
us,
without
right?
any-
How would we, is it worth discussing? How would we go about?
I think they would pursue that.
Yeah, I think that's.
Oh, that civil support group.
That group
We
would
would.
go,
Got it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe
if
with
it's
the,
recognized, we would then recognize
Yeah.
that as well.
Okay,
Correct, it would fall
and
under
their county
this
commissioners
compensation.
could do,
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So with that, I will hear a motion to, wait, we haven't made a motion on this one yet?
Correct.
I'll hear a motion to approve the revisions to 5470.
I make a motion to adopt the revisions to policy 5470, leaves of absence, military leave.
I'll second that. I'm giving you a chance. I feel lost.
Moved and seconded. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the final one, I feel like I'm slightly numerically dyslexic. It's 5740. Reduction in force, the revisions to that. Let me pull it up on my screen. So, okay, there were those few changes made. If nobody has any other questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to adopt the revisions to policy 5740, reductions in force.
I second.
It's moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes. That completes our second reading of policies, and we can move on to administrative announcements right now. Any?
I'll start.
Yes. Thanks, Tasha.
So we're enjoying school. We're still in the honeymoon. Everybody's perfect.
Yeah.
But I forgot how tired kindergartners get, and I just want to say thank you for that staggered start at the beginning of the year. I mean, we're on Tuesday, and I was taking them out, and they're just like, we need nap time almost. But it was really nice to have time to get to know kindergartners, because we didn't start, just a reminder, kindergartners didn't start till Thursday. So Tuesday, they all came in at Washington. They had a little quick assessment. We got to know them. Wednesday, we got ready for them. And then we had a separate kindergarten open house on Wednesday night. So they just
came to the kindergarten classrooms and weren't overwhelmed with the whole school. They're so little. I forget how little they are. They're so little.
That's kind of crazy.
And so
that's good.
it was really nice.
Yeah.
It was a change and new but wonderful.
Good.
Cool.
I'll just say it's been a great start, to the school year. It feels really good, and we have actually a few new students that are brand new to us, not just kindergarten, but brand new even at the 6th grade level. And it's been fun getting to know them and getting to know their families, and so it's been a really nice start to school.
Excellent.
Same thing. We feel really great. We've had a fantastic start. We've been able to meet with our freshman, senior, and sophomore classes. We have the junior class left to meet with on Thursday, but these students are amazing. I wish they would have left so quickly. Kudos to them. They're really helping set a culture for learning at our school. They did the Walk for Hope before school began. We were there on the first day handing out encouragements from the students that came in with music. And just working hard, they helped put together a welcome assembly on the first day of school. So just setting a really positive tone for the school year. So thanks to their advisor and to our student council for working so hard. We appreciate it.
Just to piggyback on everybody else, the beginning of the school year was just really smooth. I think a lot of it was kindergarten having those 2 days. So they had already come to open house. So they'd seen their classroom, they'd already come in for their little assessment with their parents. So by the time they got to us on Thursday, they were so ready to be there.
Yeah.
And just the transition away from parents and into the new routine was so smooth. It was phenomenal. So yeah, it was
Less crying.
Less crying.
Less crying is what I heard.
It was a lot less tears.
Less crying.
No, they're not zero yet.
Not on the kids'
zero.
parents.
I'm talking about the parents.
No, they were celebrating probably some of them.
Is there anything else? Yeah.
So last Friday, we had Michael Wright back in the district. He came back, I think it was in February. It was an introduction through a nursing conference. It complements, it's the goal of our district to every student graduates a reader. The program that he introduced, that he brought in February, which when we trained title, and then on this Friday we trained SEC teachers, has to do with vision and non-dominated eyes. And what the research is showing and coming out is that when students have a non-dominated eye, and there's a quick test at some point I can show you how you do it. Yep, that's right.
I taught an archery class. I know.
Okay, then you know, yeah. Well, what they say is our students, and we actually have some in our district, that do not have a dominant eye. What happens is that their eyes have saccades and goes back and forth, so they don't have really the muscle to track their eye to the left. And so he taught us an intervention program that is one of the ways that we can identify those students before they struggle reading. And so it's a very easy intervention, but it's another. The other thing I did not know about this when he came in February is actually we were for the first district outside of Colorado, which is the district he works in, that actually implemented this intervention program. So it just goes to show that I'm very proud to be here, but that we are cutting edge and doing things different in Idaho than other districts. So it was very exciting to listen.
Casey, Andrew, anything?
We're good. We're just going full speed.
Okay. Well, nothing else, Dr. Meyer? We're all done?
No, we're all great.
Meeting adjourned.